Good day, students. We are in the 10th lecture in understanding the basics of costing. We have seen various topics in the fundamentals of costing like classification, overhead apportionment, and cost sheet. Now we learned the methods. One important method is job process costing. The other is job costing. Job causes uses cost sheet. So these were the methods of costing which we saw earlier, job and process costing. All other methods of costing has job or process costing as their base. For example, batch and contract costing has job costing as base. And in multiple costing, you have a combination of job and process costing. The operating costing is based on process costing as well as the unit costing. So the format, I said the procedure for process costing in that the first step is to form a T account for the process. So in the T account, the left hand side, you will have the opening work in progress, the various purchases that you have done or various costs that are spent related to material, related to labor and overheads. So these are the things on the left hand side of the T account, and we will be calculating abnormal gain and adding that to. We'll see the calculation for abnormal gain in a later stage. Then on the right hand side, what are all sent outside? So what is the remaining closing work in progress and the value for it, the units as well as the value. What are the units that are transferred to the process next? If there is a next process, then what are the units and the value of the units that are transferred to process 2? If there is no process after this process, then it is a finished good. So what is the number of units of finished goods produced and the value of those finished goods, and the normal loss. Normal loss will have units and will not have any value because it is normally occurring. But the abnormal loss will have units as well as the value for the abnormal loss units, which will be calculated during the accounting process. So after writing the format in the first stage, you are now going to find the normal loss. The normal loss units are to be calculated first. Say if there is 100 kg of material that is put as input and 10 kg of material is uh, that is 10% is the loss, you have to calculate the units. So it is 10 kgs and enter that number of units there, and the value for the normal loss is usually, yes, it is usually 0. As I said earlier, 0. That has to be entered in the that T account. Next, calculate the abnormal loss and abnormal gain. You have to calculate what is the abnormal loss. You know the output, you know the input. Say if you have put an input of 100 kgs, 10% is loss, so 10 kgs. But if you have got only 88 kgs, then 2 kg is abnormal loss. So the units are 2 kgs and you have to enter the value for that. So you have to calculate the value for that abnormal loss and then enter in that T account. Then calculate the after entering all. So in the first stage, you will enter the direct material, direct labor, expenses, and the opening work in progress, closing work in progress, then normal units, abnormal units, and its value. So with this, you will get the total, all the values. Then you are calculating the output unit that is coming out and the cost per unit. Output unit you will have, and that from that from the T account you will get the value and you will calculate the cost per unit from that. So this is repeated for the second process, third process, until the final process, or if there are only two processes, you start with that. So this is the procedure. You may not understand the procedure clearly without doing the calculation. So I will start the calculation. So in the calculation of process costing, there are three types of calculations. In first type, the process costing, there will be no losses at all. So no normal losses, no process opening work in progress, no closing work in progress. Very simple one. And next is process costing with process stock, with opening work in progress and with closing work in progress. You will have some problems in which there are opening and closing stock. Then the problems in which you will have process costing with normal and abnormal losses or gains. Sometimes you may have told that there is on 10 percentage of loss will be there, wastage. So if you put 100 kgs, 10 percentage is 10 kgs. You should have got 90 kgs, but sometimes you will get 91 kgs. So it is an abnormal gain. So that also has to be accounted. So we will see problems regarding all these types. There are few other types also, but this is the important types. So these are the important types. So we are discussing on these types. So I want you to note this first problem. In this problem, uh, there are three processes: process A, process B, and process C. So you will have three T accounts: for T account for process A, T account for process B, process C account. So what are the data that is given? Direct materials that are purchased for process A, direct wages that are spent for process A, and direct expenses for process A, as well as for process B and process C. In process C, we can see that there is no materials and expenses, maybe like it is packaging. So maybe in packaging also you have some materials, some folding alone is done in that area, something like that is there. So you have only wages. So there are three processes involved. What is that given? Uh, During a 4-week period, 1,000 units were produced. So they have given the output number of units. Finished goods produced were 1,000 units. So this is the problem. So now we have to prepare the process cost. We have to do process costing for this problem that is given. It is a very simple problem. Let us see the calculation in the Excel sheet. I have given the same problem as shown here at the process costing. 1,000 units is the output. So output units is 1,000. The values are given. Now we will see the calculations. I will hide it first. So we have the format for process. So first is process A account. We have to put the T first. So you have to put this and right side. First left side particulars, units and cost in a central T, line in the T, particulars, units and costs. So what are those things that are to be put in the left hand side? So it is direct materials first unit. We don't know the unit, so we cannot put the number of units, and the cost is given as for process A, the cost given is 3,000. So we have to put that 3,000. Then direct wages. So it is 2,500. You have to put that here, left hand side. Then third is direct expenses. So the value is 1,000. So putting that value here. So this is the left hand side. We do not have normal losses or abnormal losses, abnormal gain, no opening work in progress, no closing work in progress. So those things are omitted here now. If it is there, we have to add that opening work in progress and abnormal gain has to be added in the left hand side. Since those values are not there, I'm not putting them. Next on the right hand side, yes, normal losses. So there is no normal loss. So blank, abnormal loss, blank. Next, what is the next on the right hand side? Yes, it is transfer to process B. So first, this is what you have to, you don't know what is the value for transfer to process B. So now we will see on the what we have to do. We have to add all the things in the left hand side. These things, these three have to be added and put the total on the bottom. So left hand side total is 6500. So that value has to be written on the right hand side because it is going to be balanced. So add write this value here on the right hand side here. This value, this this value has to be written here directly. Then find out the columns here. So if it is normal loss is 0, so this transfer to process B is equal to 6500 minus abnormal losses. So here, since abnormal losses are not there, the same value comes here. 6500 minus 0 in your abnormal losses. So 0 is your abnormal losses. So you get the value of 6500 is transferred to process B. So now this value is entered in the, so we have process B. Now we will prepare the account for process B. Hope the account preparation for process A is understood. Now we'll go to process B. Process B account. We have to put the same table. So on the left hand side, particulars, units and total cost. On the right hand side, particulars, units and total cost. So first, from transfer from process B, you have to enter that. If you have the number of units, the same number of units has to be entered here. Since we do not have, we are not writing the value, the same value we are writing here. If there is opening work in progress, we have to write it here. Since there is no opening progress here, we are not writing. We are having direct material, direct wages and direct expenses. So we have direct material, direct wages and direct expenses for process B. We are writing those three: direct material, wages, and we are entering the values 2000, 1000 and 500. Now you have to total the column on the left hand side, which is 10,000. 6,500 plus 2,000 plus 1,000 plus 500 is 10,000. Now you have to write this value on the right hand side. Left hand side total is written on the right hand side. And now this right hand side value, we will see we do not have any normal losses. We do not have any abnormal losses. So final, if it is transferred to process C. Transfer to process C here. So transfer to process C is how much? We do not have the number of units. We do not have abnormal loss. So here transfer to process C is the same. So it is 10,000, same 10,000. 10,000 minus abnormal losses you will have it here. So it is 10,000. Now we will prepare process C account. Similarly, we will have process C account here. So it is process C account. So we have the particulars, cost and units. So we have transfer from process. What is it? We have transfer from process B. We have transferred. The value is this. So 10,000. Then we have direct material, wages and expenses. We have direct material, direct wages and direct expenses here. The value for that insert here. Yeah. Values. We have 10,000 from there. Direct materials is 0. Then direct wages we have, it is 800. Direct expenses is equal to 0. So we have the sum here as here. Total on the left hand side is 10,800. Entering the same value on the right hand side total, we have 10,800. Now this is, we do not have normal and abnormal losses. Next is not transfer, it is transfer to finished goods. Finished goods. Do we have the units for the finished goods? Yes, we have the output units, which is 1000. So it is 1000 units. So it is 1000 units. And the value is 10,800 minus 0, which is equal to 10,800. Now, what is the next step? Calculation of cost per unit. Cost per unit calculation is equal to total cost divided by the number of units here, finished goods. So it is 10.8. So cost per unit in rupees is 10.8. So we have done all the steps now. So we have prepared the T account for process A, entered the values, normal, abnormal losses, since it is not there, we have put the values. Then we have prepared the T account for process B by transferring the materials to process B, then process C, and finally cost per unit. If we have the number of units at the end of each process, if we know, we have to calculate the cost per unit at the end of each process. So so we have prepared we have done process costing with the data that was given. Process A, B, and C with the available data. The process costing is complete.